Hello, it's Friday, August 14th. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 18 of What's Happening in Myanmar, a show from the Frontier Myanmar podcast family. I'm your host, Nick Dunlop. This week in Myanmar, Min Aung Hlaing returns from Thailand as floods kill dozens, Junta airstrikes target civilians, Rohingya face forced conscription, and fighting breaks out in Mongmit. Regime President Min Aung Hlaing finished his two-day visit to Thailand on Saturday. While state-run media reported that Min Aung Hlaing received a warm reception at Parliament, Bangkok MP Anasorn Tamajai repeatedly shouted, "For peace, for humanity," when the junta president arrived at the building. Min Aung Hlaing also visited the Myanmar embassy and urged staff to support Myanmar citizens in Thailand. He rejected ASEAN's five-point consensus and once again claimed that the recent election had been free and fair. Widespread monsoon flooding continues to affect Sagaing, Magwe, Mandalay and Irrawaddy regions, as well as southern Shan state. At least 25 people have died along the Mu River in Sagaing, while hundreds of thousands of people across several regions have been affected. Heavy rain continues to flood villages, destroy farmland and displace residents. In some townships in Sagaing, the regime has obstructed aid workers from delivering assistance to flood victims without the required permission. Rescue teams also lack boats, life jackets and other supplies. Meanwhile, the National Unity Government has formed an emergency committee to coordinate rescue and aid efforts in Sagaing. On Monday, a junta airstrike killed at least 12 civilians in Chautji village in southern Rakhine state's Tandoi township. The junta also dropped bombs near a monastery, killing women and children. Other junta airstrikes hit Napoli Beach and killed 7 people. In a separate strike in An Township, the junta killed 2 more civilians. The Steering Council for the Emergence of a Federal Democratic Union announced the formation of a military coordination committee during a virtual meeting last Saturday. The committee includes the Kachin Independence Army, the Karen National Army, the Chin National Front, the Karenni National Progressive Party, and the National Unity Government. The committee aims to create a unified strategy against the regime. The Kachin Army chair called on the public to support the new alliance. After more than 10 years of award-winning journalism, we at Frontier are fighting for our survival. The grants that once supported 2/3 of our operations are no longer available. Despite this, our journalists continue their difficult and dangerous work, but with decreasing resources. Please encourage friends and colleagues to join Frontier so we can continue producing our trademark features, in-depth investigations, and on-the-ground reporting. By joining Frontier, you'll be supporting us to tell the stories that matter and to cut through the noise to reveal what's really happening in Myanmar. You'll also become part of our community, receiving Frontier Friday, our weekly newsletter, as well as access to one free article and updates on our latest podcasts. Please click the link in the podcast show notes to join us. Thank you. The United Nations Independent Investigative Mechanism for Myanmar released its annual report on Tuesday. It said the military increased airstrikes on civilian targets, including schools and medical facilities, ahead of the junta's election in December and January. The report said the military also increased its use of double-tap attacks, in which it immediately follows an airstrike on a particular location with another strike targeting people helping the wounded. The report also covered unlawful detention, saying the regime has arrested 30,870 people since the February 2021 coup. The mechanism is collecting the evidence for use in international courts. A diarrhoea outbreak in Yangon has killed at least 1 person, while more than 180 patients were admitted to the city's general hospital. The hospital temporarily closed its outpatient department. Regime officials suspect contaminated street food caused the outbreak and order the stores to close. The trial of Myanmar's former UK ambassador, Jo Min, began in London yesterday. He's been charged with diplomatic trespass after he refused to leave the ambassador's residence following his ousting by the regime and his condemnation of the 2021 coup. He pleaded not guilty, saying the regime is illegitimate. The National Democratic Alliance Army met with Min Aung Hlaing in Nay Pyi Taw on Tuesday. The group pledged to cooperate with the regime's peace process. The regime also discussed the ceasefire and local development with the Shan State Progress Party on Friday. However, tensions between the military and the SSPP have risen in northern Shan State, as the military pressures the group to withdraw from several areas. The military has ordered Rohingya households in Sitwe Township, Rakhine State, to provide one conscript each. Under an order issued on July 29th, the military requires 20 recruits a month from Aung Mingala ward in Sitwe town. The military issued similar orders in 13 Rohingya camps around the state capital. The regime had previously said it would not recruit non-citizens, including most Rohingya. However, the regime has reportedly conscripted more than 3,000 Rohingya since February 2024. Fighting resumed in Mongmit Township in northern Shan State after a 10-month pause. The Kachin Independence Army and allied resistance forces clashed with regime troops on Tuesday. The regime used Mi-35 fighter jets and Y-12 aircraft in the attacks. A source close to the KIA said a military officer was killed. The regime then recaptured lost positions on Wednesday. Resistance forces remain in the area, and both sides are now facing off. Residents have fled, fearing further airstrikes. Mongmit is strategically important to the KIA. Its forces have maintained positions in rural areas of the township. The Taang National Liberation Army captured Mongmit in July of 2024, but handed the town back to the regime in October of last year. And that's the latest from Myanmar for this week. Check out our latest feature, Weaponizing Religion, together with our Political Insider column, Recasting Power, on our website. Please click the link in the podcast show notes below. Also, the Doatan podcast is freely available on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And I will be back next week to bring you a roundup of all the stories making the headlines on Friday, August the 21st.